Buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jordi, and I'm going to talk about more or less what he said. I summarize it as the 36 steps into my entrepreneurial journey. So I'm going to fly through, I think, like 80 slides, so get ready. So briefly about me, I'm founder and CEO at Factorial, HR software company based in Barcelona. We have around 8,000 customers. We raised a little bit more than 200 million euros, valued at 1 billion, based in Barcelona, serving all of Europe and America. On top of that, I also co-host one of the most listened to podcasts in the startup ecosystem in Spain, next to my co-founder Bernat, the ITNIC podcast, where we also invest in early stage companies between 1 and 200,000 euros per company. So what am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about some of the things that we did, some of the things that I got right, and some of the things that I got wrong, and hopefully you can take something from that. I just want to disclose that many of these things are sheer luck. Some are just my circumstance, and a few of them are actually good decisions that helped us get to where we are. Before I give you the full download, I wanted to share a 50-second video that is going to tell you the gist of my talk. So if you have to run, just stay for this, and then I'll give you my version to that.
All right, today we're going to talk about how we can find out and how much we can find out and what it takes to get there. So first we have to decide how much do we want to find out. So let's say in this case, I want to find out at a level of 7. Okay, so I find that level on my graph and I come horizontally to my gradient line. Where it intersects with my gradient line, I'm going to come straight down to where it intersects with my fuck around line. That there is going to tell me how much I have to fuck around to find out what I need to find out. See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out. And also, if you stay down here and you never fuck around, you'll never find out. So I hope this lesson is helpful. Thank you.
Thank you indeed. So that's basically the summary of what I want to talk about. You have to fuck around to find out. So you have to try many things. So let's find out. I'm going to start talking about myself. Then I'll talk about some of the things that we got right at Factorial, some of the things that we got wrong at Factorial, and then my favorite topic, things that investors say. It's always fun to talk about things that investors say. So first of all, very briefly, I'll fly. So I was born to a psychologist and an architect, entrepreneurial. So I learned a little bit to understand people, and I learned what it means to earn your customers' trust and money, which helped me a lot in my career. I am annoyingly curious, so I ask a lot of questions, and that's something that's very important. It's not natural for many people to ask questions. It is annoying, it's awkward, but it helps so much. You get so much information, you learn so much, and you can help people if you ask them questions. I also enjoy building and disassembling things. That's a picture of me knitting. I was sick in Rio de Janeiro, actually. So I was sick, and I started knitting a scarf. And on the other picture, I'm doing some woodworking. I have a terrace in Barcelona, and I always build stuff. That was during the confinement, where I couldn't go outside, so I was in front of the computer 24/7, so I wanted to build something that wasn't a startup, that wasn't through a computer, so I was building furniture for a while. So anyway, building stuff is amazing. The thing that I built the most in my life is software. Software is incredible because it's limitless. It's virtual. So as long as you have a keyboard and a computer, and if you have internet, then it's just insane, you can build non-stop. And I started building software when I was 12, 13 years old, and that took me to where I am today. I love selling, which is kind of weird for a programmer. Usually you're either a programmer or a salesperson. I happen to love selling. And the thing about selling is not making money. It's not pushing shit to others. Sorry, I don't know if I can curse. It's not pushing stuff to other people. It's actually finding out. Like selling is asking questions. What can I do for you? How can I help you? And then you learn, and then you sell something else, and you go on and on and on. I love chaos. That's one of the things that I realized about myself. I'm actually very comfortable when everything is broken and when there is uncertainty, there are no plans. Fun fact, my wife is Swiss, and you know the Swiss are famous for being very organized, so it's quite fun at home when we have to plan something, and I don't want to plan anything, and she wants to plan 6 months in advance. We try to meet somewhere in the middle, which means we do what she says. I love solving problems. Again, ask questions. You learn about problems, you go out and you solve them. These problems can be money problems, it can be productivity problems, it can be societal problems, it can be any type of problems, but it's just fascinating to solve problems. And I actually enjoy fundraising. And that's one thing that I learned after talking to many founders, especially in Spain, I think. Founders here don't like fundraising. They don't like investors. They're intimidated by them. And I think it's fun because investors are just great partners for your business. They're going to give you money. They're going to allow you, enable you to build your dream, to solve problems, to go and do something that matters. This is, by the way, one of my secret weapons. This is a paella place in Barcelona. Apologies if there's some Valencian people over here, but it's the best paella in Barcelona, one of the best paellas in Barcelona. And these two folks here, on the right side, this is Creandum, general partner and partner who led our seed round when we had almost no revenue and basically no traction. They believed in us. And I think it was the paella that did it. After that, we had some numbers to show, but that one was the paella. I love teaching because the thing about teaching is one of the fastest ways to learn. So by teaching something, you force yourself to reflect, to ask questions, to structure your thoughts, and actually that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to teach you something that I learned, and I'm actually learning about myself. I became a father, which is quite interesting because it gave me a lot of perspective about all the things I was wasting my time on, and you just become a ruthless prioritizer. When you have something so precious in your life, such as in my case, time with my daughter, Ainhoa, then I don't waste any time in something that doesn't matter. And first I thought that's going to be a huge challenge. Leading a startup and then being a father is almost impossible. My co-founder, Pau, he had his first child on the second year of Factorial. I had Ainhoa on our third, fourth year of Factorial. And it actually became my superpower because I learned to say no. And I started saying no to almost everything that wouldn't move the needle, either for my own happiness and my family environment, or for my business, or some of my passions, such as teaching, the podcast, and the investing that we do. I trust people. It's just fun. Life is not fun if you are distrusting, mistrusting people around you. So I learned it's also a superpower if you assume the best in people. One funny anecdote here is sometimes I go to a store with a friend or with one of my colleagues, and somebody's rude to us. And the first instinct is like, what an asshole. Like, this person is not nice. And I always think like, maybe something happened to that person. So I'm going to trust that this person is actually a good person. They just had a bad day. So we're going to try to empathize with them. Just life is so much more fun if you trust people. About to move on to the next stage. The last thing I want to say about this is I love to think about what can go right versus what can go wrong. And this is amazing if you're an entrepreneur, because everything can go wrong. Everything usually goes wrong. But as long as you can hold on to something that can go right, this motivates you so much, and it makes you fight very, very hard until you make it. As an investor, it's also quite an interesting skill, because you start thinking not about all the things that will go wrong, but the one thing, what happens if this goes right? What will this company become if something goes right? So speaking of such, what did we get right at Factorial? So first of all, the founding team. So Pau, Bernat, and myself started Factorial exactly 7 years ago right now. It was late spring, early summer 2016. I had studied computer engineering with Bernat, so I knew him at that point for, 15 years. Now he's like 20. And Pau was my colleague at Red, was my previous company, where he replaced me as a CTO, and he also became my best friend and my daughter's, godfather. So it's two people I trusted blindly, and two people I know were super, super skilled. And also, very, very important, two people that I knew would stick around and would have my back. So we all were kind of old enough where we knew this is a long-term play, but we were young enough where we still had a lot of energy to go against the world and do the impossible. So nailing the founding team is like a make it or break it kind of thing. You have to nail your founding team. It's hard to fix that if you don't get it right. We got that right. Second thing we got right was the product vision. We had enough experience with our previous startups to learn about some problems in managing, in leading an organization, in building software. So we had this vision of this very horizontal, very complete platform that can help millions of organizations around the world automate all of the HR, human resources, administration, and bureaucracy. It would allow them to stop wasting time and start learning from the data that is generated after this automation from the software, and then make better informed decisions. So that vision was clear from day one. We nailed it. It took a while to implement. We're still working on implementing it, but that is very important. We pivoted in almost everything else, but the product vision and the founding team are still here. Next, the market. We nailed the market. And that's one thing that I think we were lucky, because we knew it was kind of big, but we had no idea how big it was. We keep being shocked mostly when we go out and fundraise, and we talk to these VCs and these private equity analysts and these investment bankers, these very smart people that spend many, many, many hours in front of computers doing research, and they tell us the size of the market. We're like, wait. I thought at best they can be like 100 million in revenue. Maybe now it's like $1 billion. Maybe it's like 10 billion. Now we're thinking it's hundreds of billions of dollars in revenue that can be collected if you help this market. There is 10 million small and mid-sized organizations in Europe and America, which are the geographies where we operate. We have 8,000 customers today, so that tells you the amount of growth that we still have ahead of us. That's a luxury. Not all the startups can serve a market so big. It's the single largest market in B2B software, so we're very lucky to be there. We knew it was a good market, but we didn't know it was so good. Fundraising, we got that right. We were lucky. We were almost dead. We had to work very hard in some fundraisers. We almost had to work nothing at all in some other fundraisers when the market was at its peak. But fundraising helped us a lot. We have great investors who think long-term, and we have a lot of capital to implement our vision. Now, go-to-market DNA. We love SEO. We love content. That's why we do the podcast. That's why we have so many blog posts. That's why we produce and share all of their learnings with the world, because we help people learn, and we help people know us. So it's a win-win. And we knew that Spain wasn't enough for us. So we were born in Barcelona, but right away we knew we wanted to conquer the world, and we were working on that. Aggressiveness, we think big, we move fast, we break things, and our targets are very, very ambitious. At the same time, we try to make our money last, so we're cost conscious. We try to use money where we're going to generate impact, and we try to not waste money where it's not going to generate impact. We didn't give up. That's very simple. Just the fact that we keep going when things were tough brought us here. If we had given up, which is very, very easy to give up, by the way, we wouldn't be here right now. Now, what did we get wrong at Factoria? So the list is infinite. I probably made 10 mistakes today alone, but kind of summarizing and trying to level it up and think about some of the big mistakes that we did. First big mistake, business model. We started as a free software. We thought we would figure out, and we didn't figure out, but we had to fuck around to find out. We didn't find out. We tried again, and the third time, we found a business model that worked for us. We're a pure B2B software. We charge a few euros per employee per month, more features, more euros, more employees, more euros, so it's aligned with the amount of value we deliver to our customers, the amount of value we collect as a business to be able to reinvest and keep growing. Business model, I think it's totally fine to screw it up as long as you can pivot and you pivot fast. Pivot is basically changing the business model. It's very painful to undo things when you spend 1 year building something and you have to throw it to the trash. That sucks. You have to do it. We did it fast. Second thing, key hires, early hires. That is very, very dangerous. It can mess up your culture. The company culture is something that is probably impossible, like trust, to recover. So we did some early hires where it just wasn't the right fit. I confused ambition as thinking first that it meant people who wanted to go very far, versus what it actually means, which is people willing to do what it takes to go very far. So we messed up some hires. We promoted some people too fast. We fired a little bit too slow. We scaled headcount a little bit too fast. And we hired too early in the organization. So many mistakes around hiring. We also hired too late. So just to wrap up, running out of time, my favorite topic, investors. We deal with a lot of investors. We raised more than 200 million euros. I spoke to maybe, 100, 200, I lost count, of VCs, growth stage VCs, private equities, and they love to say things. So some things they told us. You can't build a global company from Barcelona. Many of you might have heard that. Change Barcelona with Madrid or somewhere else in Spain. We heard that. You're not going to build a global company from Barcelona, so you should limit your ambition, to which we said, hold my beer, because we're definitely here to build a global company, and we're definitely in Barcelona. So more things they told us. HR is very local. You can't internationalize. It's actually true that HR is very local, but don't tell a founder what they can do, because they'll go and do it. So we said, here it is. We're active in 9 markets right now, most of Europe, Latin America, and we're now growing in the US. They also told us, SaaS is an amazing business model, but for the enterprise, not for SMEs. The unit economics don't add up, which we said, we have some ideas. We'll bring a calculator, do some numbers, and we'll make it work. They also said you cannot have salespeople in the SME. It has to be purely self-service. We have 500 salespeople, to which we said, I know your rule of thumb if you're a San Francisco-based company and you have this ridiculous lifestyle and costs, but if you think about it, if you do the numbers, if you understand the market and your basic numbers, you can make it work. We made it work so far, and we want to keep making it work. They also told us you need to be in Silicon Valley to raise money. Now, that was definitely true the first time I went to San Francisco in 2011. You had to go to San Francisco to raise money. Back then, I moved to San Francisco because investors said, I'm here, money's here. If you owe my money, you have to be here. The company has to be here. And we said, yes, sir. Now, fast forward 2020, we went back to San Francisco. So I went to San Francisco right before the pandemic in February 2020. And this time we managed to find great San Francisco-based investors who gave us money, and we took the money back to Barcelona. And we're a Spanish-based company with American money in Barcelona. We spend it here and all over the world. So that changed. You might need to go to San Francisco or somewhere else, but you can raise a lot of money based in Barcelona. You heard some other great stories earlier today. You also said internationalization. That's where all companies go to die. You have to go one after the other, take it easy, solve one until you do the next one. Whatever, you know what we did already. So the last thing they told us is you cannot hire seasoned executives in Barcelona. Now, that is actually true. There is not that many B2B SaaS companies of our stage in Barcelona where somebody already kind of moved on from their stage and we can go and poach them and bring them to Factorial. There's just not many. There's like a handful of companies at that stage in Barcelona with executives we can hire, which means we either need to hire from abroad and relocate them, which is difficult, or we can promote them, which is extremely difficult. And we're doing a combination of both. Now, the very last thing that they told us is you cannot keep scaling the headcount as you do, and actually they were totally right. I don't want to talk about it. We're 1,000 people now, and we just don't want to be 10,000 people in the next few years, so we're trying to figure out how to become more efficient. So anyway, investors tell things. I think it's great to listen, to learn, to be polite, to maybe answer, what do you think about that? Why would you say that? How did you learn that? But overall, just, think. Use your brain, use a calculator, make up your own decisions. Summary, investors love to say things. I love to ask questions. I think it's the best way to learn. Learning is the best thing in the planet. Bring a calculator, do your own numbers. Don't be afraid of ridicule. So think of what can go right. If you're afraid of ridicule, you will not be ambitious enough. It's fine to fail strategically, as long as sometimes maybe you win big. Solve real problems. That's one of the things we got lucky with. That's why the market is so big, because the problem we're solving is actually very real. And being a humongous market is going to make your sales so much faster. It's going to make your fundraising so much easier. To wrap up, just don't quit. Just keep going. The summary, thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Use Factorial. Go to eatnick.net. Listen to the podcast. I'm here to answer any questions after this. Don't quit.